She had previously communicated that Wednesday afternoon meetings are a difficult. So I think that that is a likely ongoing challenge for her. I'm sorry.
Tell me.
No.
I might have a swing.
You're welcome. If you are a Diet Dr. Pepper fan, you are more than welcome to have a.
Diet Coke now.
Really, you haven't made the change to Coke Zero yet? Because I
Coke
think
Zero sugar is the
it's what-
truth.
you're
So good.
you're down with Coke Zero.
Yeah.
I don't know how you drink Diet Coke after Coke Zero came on the market.
I don't even.
Because I don't like the taste of Coke.
Okay, that would be a good
Oh.
reason. That would be a good reason.
Although lately I've been into the Diet Ginger Ale.
Very nice. Are you ready from the desk? Call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. This is the meeting of the Policy and Procedures Subcommittee. Let's begin with a roll call, if you would, please.
Leslie Nesmith, present.
Stephen Buck, present.
Hannah Royce, present.
Ryan Henney, present.
Ray Douglas, present.
All right, thank you all for joining. Thank you to those who may be viewing online. We appreciate your participation. The next item on our agenda will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Leslie, would you be as kind to lead us? I will read into the record and confirm that notice of this meeting was properly posted on November the 9th, 2022. All required documentation has been submitted, and we are at a quorum of the subcommittee so that we are able to proceed in our business. Item number 1 is the discussion and possible action to approve the meeting minutes from our August 17th Citizens Advisory Board Policies and Procedures Subcommittee. Are there any additions or corrections? Absent those, we will entertain a motion to approve.
I motion.
A second.
We will be voting on our screens today, so if you would please mark your selection on the iPad. The motion has advanced. Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is a discussion and possible action regarding the regular schedule of meetings for 2023. Just a note of narrative, just to remind each of us that all of the meetings that were posted this calendar year were considered special meetings because this body had not come into being at the start of our required filing. We are now in the period of time to where we can actively file with the Secretary of State our proposed meeting schedule for the upcoming year. You will note that the proposal before you continues the custom that we have established of a 2:15 convening on what will be the third Wednesday of each month. As chair, I would tell you that just because a meeting is posted as being scheduled does not mean that we would have to meet at all those windows. But I think it's advisable to have them on the books so that if we need to meet, it's already posted, as opposed to asking our team to routinely file special meeting requests. I would also just acknowledge that if you think about any meeting time changes, there was reason for this committee and the operations committee to move in tandem based upon combined or shared committee membership, and then also to underscore that this meeting room is heavily used, so any attempted change would require a great deal of facilitation on finding meeting space. And we have confirmed this time slot is available for the upcoming year, correct? Okay. No, it shows 2:15. Yes. Okay. Any thoughts or discussion on the proposed meeting schedule?
We don't currently meet every month. Is there a desire to do that?
No, it's my anticipation that we would not need to meet monthly, but I think it's advisable to have them posted. Easier to cancel than it is to go through the mechanics of scheduling a special meeting.
Okay.
Motion or second on the minutes? Or, excuse me, not the minutes, the proposed meeting schedule?
I'll motion we approve the meeting schedule for 2023.
There's been a motion and a proper second. The voting icon is available for your action. The motion has carried. There are two very significant courses of business today. Item number 3 is a procedural discussion point that that we should walk through. Sorry, I'm making sure I have the appropriate item in front of me. Part of the work of this committee will be to do a review of the policies and procedures that manage or that guide the operations of the detention center. And as we have had the opportunity to discuss, some of those procedures should be considered to be information that would be deemed confidential based upon the nature of certain protocols that are in place to protect employees, visitors, as well as detainees. And we need to make sure that we acknowledge those. But then there are other procedures that are available for full public inspection without redaction. And so there's really two clusters of particular documents that we will have a chance to review. Heading into calendar year 2023, it's my anticipation that the review and critique and suggestions for improvement will be a regular part of this committee's ongoing work, that we will systematically walk through what are literally going to be hundreds of policy documents and providing whatever expertise or insight that we can offer into those. So the potential action today, or the discussion point, and then any subsequent action is preferences of the committee members as to how they would like to begin attacking what will be a very robust review. The extent of documentation is significant, and it will likely be a very tedious yet important process as we move from policy 1 to policy 2 to policy 3. So with that, I would entertain discussion, and if we reach the point that there's a consensus that we would like to guide ourselves by saying that we want to commit to doing X number of policies per quarter or whatever that might be, I am more than happy to entertain that.
Mr. Chairperson.
Yes, sir.
I think as we begin to look at those, I guess the A item of the methodology for our review is that is there a way that we are to qualify these policies that are the most significant for the impact that we want to make? I mean, like you said, there are hundreds of policies, and so as to not get bogged down in
Right.
some of the things, that is a way for us to first disqualify the policies that that we need to attack and kind of maybe categorize them first tier, second tier, third tier.
Priority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that deal, which would suggest then that we would probably take them out of order from which the number that they are currently sequenced. So to that point, my response to the question would be, I think that is a very meritorious approach, and wonder if there might be I don't have the policies in front of me, so I can't articulate specific titles, but if there were perhaps some broadly worded subtitles that we could use, we can ask council to afford those to us first for our review.
So I have some thoughts on the question, but not really any idea how to implement it. So one of the things that I think this is actually a perfect way to use like the focus groups that Chairman Steele has been sort of organizing.
Right.
I mean, I've got notes from when we went in and things that I think make sense to talk about in the operations group, things that I think make sense for this policies and procedures subcommittee. What I don't know is how to take what I've got and get it onto the agenda in a way that makes sense and that everybody sort of, and I also don't know where they are in the policies and procedures,
Right.
which are hundreds of pages. So my recommendation is that somehow we use the information we're gleaning from these focus groups or whatever you want to call them and try to go at it that way.
Right. Ryan, if you don't mind, if I could, for those who are in the in-person audience and those who may be viewing this segment for the first time, what Mr. Haney is referencing is as part of the broader Citizens Advisory Board. Periodically, we are having focus groups with detainees at the detention center, unscripted conversations about their experience. Some of them were able to compare a current experience with what they might have received months or years ago. So it's a pretty robust data set that's being gathered through personal interview. I haven't been on one of those yet, but I hope I provided an adequate synopsis of that. So I can tell you I personally appreciate using that type of qualitative data that we're gathering to help drive where we might prioritize. I appreciate that point. And there are those of you who have been on the visits who might be able to help garner that into maybe our priority would be detainee living conditions, just to throw something out there and ask for that to be the first policies under review.
I agree, and I think in that same vein are we have a lot of focus groups we're talking about, so I'm going to call the old focus groups, the focus groups that were under the jail trust prior to the Citizens Advisory Board being created. Chairman Steele put these three recommendations back on our agenda at our last CAB meeting. Those were a classification focus group, a direct supervision focus group, as well as a population reduction focus group. And I believe a lot of these recommendations will perhaps, I assume, perhaps overlap with some of these policies that we can dig in as well as prioritize them based on, that qualitative data that we're learning from folks that are being housed within the detention center currently, as well as some of that work that's already been previously done. And I think we kind of discussed in that same vein, figuring out a way, like Ryan is saying, to get those things kind of out in front of everyone. So I look forward to spitballing that and figuring out how we can do that alongside sort of a checklist that we make to prioritize those policies and recommendations.
Yeah. So, just as an example, because I don't want to discuss this because it's not on the agenda, but like one of the things that came up was that I think it was when we were talking with the female inmates that they need cleaning supplies. Well, so my question is, how do I like in the easiest way possible, how do I locate where that might fall within the policies and procedures and then get it in front of this subcommittee to discuss and maybe even ask people to come in and chat with us about it? That would be my question.
So actually, I would argue that's quite germane to the topic, but because even though the discussion of cleaning supplies per se is not there, this is something that will be guided by policies and procedures guiding the treatment of detainees. And so based upon this conversation, do either of you have anything else to add?
I agree completely with what you're saying, Ryan, that we need to use those focus groups to guide what we're doing for sure, because there were several things that we were able to observe firsthand that we wouldn't have known otherwise.
And I guess it's a matter of us getting the handbook copy and individually going through it and highlighting those items that we feel are important, coming back and discuss those, and then that gives us that qualitative measurement so that we can prioritize based on what we I guess, have heard from the focus groups, and then what we just feel inherently is very important to meet the objectives that we're trying to meet.
Would it please the committee to perhaps entertain a motion to request that council provide, and they have the ability to do so, those publicly reviewable policies, and that they prioritize those that impact detainee living conditions as our first batch for review?
I
Would
think
somebody
that's
be
good.
willing to put that in a motion?
I have.
You have the motion?
Can we say what he said? What he said.
So we have a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second what you said.
Thank you. An item is available for vote. If you would please mark your iPad appropriately. Thank you. That motion passes. So we have a course of engagement as we move into our next round of meetings to prioritize policy and procedure review in those areas that impact inmate living conditions. Thank you for your work on that. I know that's kind of an ambiguous, genuine agenda item, but those of you that have never reviewed a policies and procedures for a detention environment will know they are quite diverse and comprehensive. So that will give us a place to start. Thank you. Item number 4 on the agenda relates to a discussion with Ms. Stacy Coe and possible action regarding her appointment to the subcommittee, including qualifications, manner, and timing of appointment. Just a quick review that we decided at the full cab that individuals could be added to subcommittees to help bring lived experience expertise into the conversations that we had. And I don't know if this is the exact correct protocol, but you were the nominator, Leslie. Would you be happy to bring Ms. Coe forward and
Yes, I
maybe a
would.
brief introduction, and then we will see what the pleasure of the subcommittee is.
Yes. Hello, Ms. Coe. So Stacy Coe is the owner of Coe Plumbing. She is a plumbing contractor and she is a plumbing inspector. She is very involved with several organizations. She's been involved with community organizations. Chairman Steele is familiar with Stacy's work in that realm. So I will let Stacy give us her. I know this is very informal. So just an introduction about you, and then we can open it for any questions that people have.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come here. I'm looking. On the education and testing committee, and also this.
First, I would say thank you for putting your name forward. We appreciate your desire to serve very much. And this is a pretty intimidating body, isn't it? I'm just, yeah, that's right. Leslie, thank you for championing her involvement on the subcommittee. I appreciate that. Do any of my colleagues on the subcommittee have any questions that they would like to pose? I am not sure exactly what protocols other committees have used to accept new members, but I think it may be appropriate that there be a motion of acceptance of her nomination to work on the committee. Is such a motion out there?
Oh, motion.
It looks like there's a motion and a second.
Is there any discussion on the motion?
Just thank you, and I'm excited to have all of your knowledge and female empowerment up here. So we appreciate you.
There is a motion screen before you. If you would please mark your desire on that. Congratulations, Ms. Coe. It looks like by unanimous vote of the subcommittee, you will be seated with us. The next item is actually a loyalty oath, and which sounds like the right thing to do, but I don't have a copy in front of me. Okay, Ms. Coe, without objection, when you are seated with us at likely the January meeting, at that point, one of our first agenda items will be to have you read the loyalty oath to officially join us. No, we don't have it today, so we're going to have to do that in January. You will be officially seated in January, and we will administer the oath at that time. Thank you.
I think correct me if I'm wrong, county official or county employees, but I think you might be able to even come do it on your own time. I know I wasn't able to take my cab oath. So if for whatever reason scheduling is weird or something, we just need an appointed county official to do that and they can do it.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, we would need to coordinate it, but just in case that for some reason doesn't work, we can make that happen too.
Thank you. I wasn't aware of that. That's helpful. So we will follow up with you and we'll make sure we get that done. And again, welcome aboard. The final item on our agenda is the announcement of our next scheduled meeting, which will be on January the 18th at 2:15 p.m. So that is now, will soon be filed officially, and that'll be the next time we gather as a committee. And the next item is a motion for adjournment of the subcommittee.
I don't want to like rock the boat too much, but I'm wondering, we did not have public comment on the agenda. Was that on purpose, or was that? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't want to.
Ryan, I think your point's well made. It's not agenda, but that is an anticipated agenda item. So I'll make sure that we do that in subsequent meetings because I think that's important. Okay, so thank you for pointing that out. That's right.
Is there any public?
A motion?
What?
Did
No.
anyone sign up for
No.
public comment at all?
Okay. I'm sorry.
Did anyone sign up for public comment? No.
There were no signups. Okay. With that, yes, a motion to adjourn. Were you making the motion, Leslie?
I motioned, yeah.
All right.
Then I lost it on my screen.
I seconded.
It's been motioned and seconded to adjourn. The vote is available on your electronic device. The body is adjourned.
If we have another one, I'm open to it, but that would put us at 4, which I'm kind of opposed to an even number. Because we're always here. It's not like this one where there's always someone missing. What? That's true. See ya. The first thing I always do whenever I get in here is hop on Twitter to see if Marty Piercy is live tweeting our thing. Yeah. Sometimes he does, and he generally comes to the conclusion they are extremely boring, which I totally agree. I'm like, no, I think she said last time we could just stay where we are, and that's fine with me.
You know, the beginning of next year. That's where I'm at in my mental capacity the rest of the year.
I hear that.
guys have an awesome
Take care.
evening.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, enjoy your holiday. Be safe.
You too. Were you at that watch party the other last week? Okay. I just saw you at the. I saw you at the just at the fundraiser at Paxton's house.
I don't really.
Oh, well,
I'm tired of being without it.
yeah, I could see that. In 2018, a friend of mine and I we went to we were at Mick Cornett's watch party for a little while. And this ain't going so well. So we left and we went to one of my hunters, which went better. All right, public comment is on this one, so yeah, it happens. I just want to make sure that like we're not running afoul of anything if it's not on there. But
Not all patients are involved.
okay, all right, good to know. I gotta remember to take the Pledge of Allegiance off of ours because there's just no point. I mean, at the risk of like not supporting the troops, you know, I don't want to be that guy. We ready? Do I have to hit it twice? I don't know. We'll call this meeting of the Operations Subcommittee of the Criminal Justice Authority Citizens Advisory Board to call to order, I guess. First thing is roll call.
Stephen Buck, present.
Ryan Haney, present.
Ray Douglas present.
All right, we have everybody here. Next thing is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Okay, first agenda item is public comment. I haven't received any notice that anyone has asked to give public comment, but we do have a few people here if they would like to. Okie doke. Nobody's interested, so we will move on to item number 2. Discussion and possible action to approve meeting minutes of the August 17th, 2022 Operations Subcommittee Citizens Advisory Board meeting. I would move to adopt it. I don't see my move button though. No. Do you guys have a move button? No. Did I goof it up? Oh. Okay. All right. I have moved to adopt the meetings or the meeting minutes. All right. We have a motion and a second. Will there be any discussion? Okay. Motion passes. Third agenda item is the discussion and possible action regarding adoption of a regular meeting schedule for the operations subcommittee. I'm not going to read that whole thing. So we just did this in the last subcommittee. It's the exact same. Does anyone? Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. It continues to be 15 minutes after the policies and procedures subcommittee meeting, which I think is a good idea. And I concur with Mr. Buck from that subcommittee meeting that it makes sense to go ahead and have it every month. We don't necessarily have to do it every month, but I'm going to go ahead and move to adopt those.
I seconded.
All right, we have a motion to second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. Please vote. Motion passes. Item agenda number 4, announcement. The next scheduled meeting of the Operations Subcommittee of the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority Citizens Advisory Board is January 18th at 2:30. And with that, I would hear a motion to adjourn. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. All right. We are adjourned.
Great job, Mr. Chairman.